And I see you're talking, but you're muted. I don't know if you know that or not.
I muted myself. How funny. All right, I'll start over. My name is Amory Batkoski, and I am the coordinator of business partnerships for the Saginaw ISD. We had a bunch of these sessions last fall, last spring, and we were able to do them in person. But now this year with COVID, we are not able to do them in person, so we are doing them via Zoom. Thank you all for coming and joining us. We really appreciate it. Just so my speakers know, we have some students that are at home attending this virtually, but we also have some students that are in class that are attending with their instructor on a projection screen or however they're doing that. So we're just going to run it the same format as we always do. I don't know if anybody knows, I'm sure the guys know, but yesterday kicked off National Apprenticeship Week for skilled trades. So I'm sure they'll talk a little bit about that. Each presenter today is going to talk about their specific trade, how to get into their apprenticeship program for that trade, the opportunities that they have available to you as your students, the wages, the education required, and so much more. So I'm going to go ahead and let them start. I had a couple people here who are in the waiting room. And okay, so we're going to start with Harvey Schneider today with Delta College. He's going to give a little bit of a background about what Delta College's apprenticeship programs and what he actually does, and then we'll move on from there. All right.
Okay, thank you. As Anne-Marie said, my name is Harvey Schneider. I'm the skilled trades manager at Delta College. Delta is in a little bit different position than the other gentlemen you're going to hear from because they all represent local unions. However, Delta represents companies that are perhaps non-union or companies that are independent or companies that just might be union but don't run their own training schools, such as General Motors or Next Year Automotive, Means, Lear, Tower. They're all great companies, but they don't run their own training schools, so they send students to Delta College. We currently have about 80 different employers that I work with, and they send us around 220 apprentices, give or take. In fact, I'm looking at a stack of brand new applications on my desk right now. And what Delta provides, we do not provide the on-the-job training. That's up to the employer. But we do provide the RTI, or the related technical instruction. That is Delta's niche. And we do it, I think we do it very well. We have some great labs. And I'm sure these gentlemen, as they explain their programs to you, will agree with me that if you're thinking about being an electrician or a welder or a carpenter, and if you know absolutely nothing about the trade, it's okay to come to Delta and take a few classes to find out if that's really what you want to do or hone your skills so that when you go and apply to one of these other places, other contractors, other trades, other unions, that you will be able to walk in with some confidence that you know what you're talking about. You've already got a few classes under your belt, you've got some skills. So the nice thing about coming to Delta is we are very affordable if you're paying out of pocket. You can also use grant funds, scholarship funds, and make it reasonable. And the companies I do work with, for the most part, end up paying for tuition fees and books. So for most of the employers I deal with, they realize the value of an apprenticeship and they're willing to pay for it. The other thing that Delta can do, even if you say you go to Evan at the IBW and you go through their apprenticeship and you become a journey person electrician and you did not get any of your training for Delta College, you can come back and see me and I can turn your apprenticeship or your actual completion of the apprenticeship into college credit. And that will allow you to go on and get an associate degree You can take that associate degree and then transfer it to a couple other institutions and end up with a 4-year degree if that's something you want. I mean, I could even help my buddy John Hartwell out if he wanted to come to Delta and get credit for his apprenticeship and get an associate degree. I can do that. So that's about all I'm going to have for you this morning. Feel free to contact me at Delta, skilledtrades@delta.edu.
Thanks, Harvey. If you have anything during the session that you want to jump into, just let me know. Feel free to pipe in when you want.
Okay.
I did just get a text from Local 85. They're not able to attend today. They're having some technical difficulties. So my apologies to any students that are on right now who are wanting to hear from Local 85. We'll make sure that they get included in the next one. So up now, we're going to have Evan Allardyce from IBEW, which is the electrical union, and he will talk about what opportunities are available there.
Thank you, Ann. Thanks for hosting this event. Wish we could be there in person, but we are in the state that we are, so I hope that everybody is safe and healthy, and these meetings will get that word out and continue to keep everybody safe and healthy while we still accomplish what we're trying to do here. So I'll introduce myself. I'm Evan Allardyce. I'm the business manager for IBW Local 557. That is the Electrical Workers Union. I myself completed the 5-year apprenticeship program that we offer here at our local here in Saginaw. I attended the Saginaw Career Complex myself in high school. I went there my senior year. I attended Heritage High School, so that is also a local high school. At the time, the instructor over at Saginaw Career Complex was a gentleman by the name of Carl Peel of the electricity program. And it was kind of a cool thing. Recently, I got to present him with a 50-year membership pin before he unfortunately passed away recently. So that was kind of a cool little thing where I was able to go full circle with my education and my experience here. And that gave me the kickstart that I needed to be an awesome union electrician. I now have a master's license through the state of Michigan. So if you are familiar with how that works, that takes at least 6 years of time and work experience to gain that. But I found the benefits of the union apprenticeship program. I found those benefits early on. I wish this info was a little bit more available when I was some of the students that are on this call's age. School counselors just didn't put all that information out there. So that's why we're doing this today, is to help get that information out there. Back then, like I said, it wasn't readily available, but I'm working towards making that info more available here in the area. I'm very proud of the strides that we've taken with this local of getting information out and attending job fairs and attending jobs like this. The big point with my apprenticeship program is you are paid to learn instead of you pay to learn. It's a earn while you learn type of program. When you graduate from our program after the 5 years, you will graduate with $0 debt. The only thing that we ask you to pay for would be your books each year. And the cost of those are continuing to go down and down as we have more and more classes that are available online. We're a completely self-funded program. We take no tax dollars from the state at all, from anywhere at all for that matter. We have a vested interest in our students succeeding and successfully navigating through this program. It is, when I say self-funded, that is by the membership of the local and also by the contractor's membership. It costs us roughly about $4,000 per year to train a student. So like I said, we want to see them succeed and not fail. We want to put that money to good use and get the students the best training that they can to be the best electrician that they can, and use those skills anywhere in the country if they so desire, or also, of course, here locally in the Saginaw area. My local does cover Gratiot County, Saginaw County, and Tuscola County. So if you were part of our program, you could find yourself working anywhere in those 3 geographical areas. Our program has greatly increased over the last 4 years here since I took over as business manager. We used to see about 40 applicants a year. Now we're seeing over 80 a year. It's a very, very competitive program. After applying, you do take an aptitude test. If you should pass that aptitude test, you would receive an interview. So that aptitude test does phase out some people. Like I said, we have 80 applicants. Usually we end up interviewing 60, 50 people, somewhere in that area. But being a smaller local with only a 200-person membership, we typically only take about 5 people per year into our apprenticeship program. So it is very competitive, and those spots are very sought after. So we take a chance on you. We definitely want to see you succeed, and we definitely don't want to see those spots wasted. So I just mentioned that you would take an aptitude test. So the whole application process for our local to receive that interview is at the time of application, we need you to bring us copies of your driver's license, a birth certificate, a high school diploma, and then an official copy of either high school or college transcripts showing a passing grade in an algebra class somewhere. The electrician apprenticeship program is very, very high on math, so that's why we require the algebra requirement. It's also a $25 application fee to process that. You would take that aptitude test. Should you pass that, then you will receive an interview. Typically, our interviews for the fresh people into the program are somewhere in the neighborhood of late May. Those were delayed this year due to COVID. We're hopefully going to be back on task with that next year in 2021, but we'll see what the future holds, right? We place the apprentices on the jobs. It is a very rare thing for somebody in our program to be laid off for a substantial period of time. Layoffs do occur in the trades, but typically we get you right back out to work very soon. We've been very fortunate for the last few years where everybody's been very, very busy with work. So that hasn't been an issue here. And that speaks to why we do the class sizes that we do. It doesn't do anybody any good to just be sitting and being laid off. So we want to make sure that we have a spot to put you out to work. Our starting wages are $13.50 for a day one first year apprentice. And that comes with full complete benefits. You'll be contributing from day one into 3 retirement programs and a healthcare program. It takes about a month and a half to turn that healthcare on after you get the required hours. After that, you're completely covered. We offer a HSA account, which is a health reimbursement plan for those that don't know that. And then after the first 6 months of that apprenticeship program, you get a bump up to north of $17 an hour. So quick raises that you can bank on. The first year it's after the 6-month mark, and then after that it's every year after that, working your way up to journeyman wage, which currently is $34.25 an hour plus benefits. We do require the students to go to school once every 2 weeks typically. So in a typical month, you can plan on going to school about twice each month. So a typical 2-week period, 1 week you would work your 40-hour job, or it's possible to be working overtime somewhere. And then the next week, maybe on a Wednesday, you would attend class all day for 8 hours to get your education. We always say that our classroom is the job site, and then we have our classes to reinforce what you're learning out on the job site. So you have a question of something that you learned a week or 2 ago, or even a day ago, you can come in, ask the instructors, hey, we did this wire pull the other day. Why is it that we included these conductors in it, and how do you size the conduit? Things of that nature. Our apprenticeship program is affiliated with the Michigan Building and Construction Trades Council as well. All the other trades that are on here, I think, are affiliated with that as well. The main thing to stress to you guys and girls out there is you'd be part of a family here in a local union. Like I said, we want everybody to succeed. We take a vested interest in them. I talk to apprentices daily. We have other journeymen in our local that'll talk to their apprentices daily to keep them on task, let them know what it is that's expected of them. Communication's key. So if we can get that communication out there, say, hey, we see that you're doing this, but it's maybe a tiny bit wrong. Why don't you try this method? Not picking on anybody, but it's just because we want everybody to be prepared the most. I mentioned earlier, we've got people that work all over the place. I have people that work at a nuke plant out in California every year for a period of time. And then they come home and work around here in the meantime. the union apprentice or union electrician scale out in California, depending upon where they're at, sometimes north of $60 per hour. So sky's the limit. There's lots of opportunities. Work is very good here in the area at this point in time. Like I said, we set you up to succeed. Big thing for us is those soft skills we're looking for. Can you get to work on time every day? And by on time, I mean 5-10 minutes early, not like right at 7 a.m. in the morning. And if you show up with an attitude and a willingness to learn, we can teach you how to be an excellent electrician and one of the most skilled electricians in the area. So with that, I will wrap up my time. You can get more information. All that information that I just said is available on our website, www.ibw557.org. That's got the application requirements that I just rattled off a couple minutes ago. And I will go back to Ann on that note.
All right, thank you, Evan. Just so everybody knows, I do have a couple documents that I'm not able to share because I'm recording, but your counselors, career navigators, teachers, anybody at your school, you should probably start with your counselors, but they have a couple documents that we worked on. We have an apprenticeship brochure that lists all of the local unions here in our Saginaw County area with contact information. Also, it lists the requirements that you need for your education, your work keys, scores, etc. We also did just come up with a checklist of if you want to go into the skill trades, kind of where to start, you know, kind of exploring careers, what you want to do, checking out different opportunities, and then there's some videos and also some information on how you can get into each one of these skill trades. So if you need it, if you're a student and you need that information, go see your counselor, your career navigator, and they'll get that to you. If you're a counselor or a career navigator, contact me and I'll get that for you. Okay, thanks again, Evan. Next up, we will go with Matt Raj with the Iron Workers. He is the training coordinator for Iron Workers Local 25, and we'll hear some from him.
Hey, good morning, everybody. And Anne Marie, thanks for putting this together and having us today. With the Iron Workers Local 25, we've been around since 1901 is when we were chartered. We belong to an international association that was formed in 1896. So definitely not anything new, been around for years. Our formal apprenticeship started in 1953. So currently our apprenticeship program we run now is DOL registered, right? Obviously, and it's a 4-year program. We perform the related technical instruction and the hands-on skills assessment at our 2 training centers. Our main training centers in Wixom, Michigan, and we have another training center in Hudsonville, Michigan. And right now, jurisdictionally, you know, for years now, we've covered the lower peninsula of Michigan. We're possibly going to be looking at a training center, hopefully around the Lansing area within the next year, which would probably help out a lot of the area that you're in, Anne Marie. But we do cover apprentices that come to school. We do block weeks. So it would mean every 3 months you'd be at our facility, Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. If you're over 100 miles away, we will pick up the hotel cost. We'll put you in the Holiday Inn or the Comfort Inn, located right down the road from us here in Wixom, and we pick up that cost as well. So our membership is around, it's smaller than some of the other building trades in Michigan. We're around 2,000 members for ironworkers in the lower peninsula of Michigan. The upper peninsula is covered by Wisconsin, which is local 8. So apprentice-wise, we've got about 337 was the last number I seen that are registered currently. We put on about 150 apprentices a year. So generally the past couple of years, with the way that work's been, we put on 6 classes. Next year we have 3 classes planned going on in the spring and 3 classes in the fall. And that's what brings to light about a possible another training center that's going to be coming up. Just because we're filled to capacity, we can't fit any more room. We've got 2 classrooms in this one with 2 classes here every week. So So with our 4-year apprenticeship program, what's great about Local 25 is we're a mixed local, which means that in the ironworker realm of things, some locals only cover structural ironwork. We cover all facets of ironwork, which is structural, architectural, ornamental, reinforcing, rigging and machinery moving, precast concrete, pre-engineered buildings, fence erectors, conveyor. So we branch off so wide that a lot of times people don't even realize that it's the ironworkers' jurisdiction of work. So within the 4-year apprenticeship also, everyone will become a certified welder. We have 3 accredited testing facilities in the state and accredited with the AWS. So our instructors and myself are AWS certified weld inspectors. So that gives us the ability to test our apprentices and our journeymen here at our facilities and certify them welding, not only for the state of Michigan, but anywhere in the United States. So as they may travel as a journeyman, and some apprentices do travel, that their credentials actually cross state lines. Versus my apprenticeship in the middle 90s there, hey, we certified with the state of Michigan, we crossed over to Ohio, our welding certifications were no good. So that's a great benefit that we have nowadays. And that was put together by our international association. So we have 173 training centers throughout North America. So a lot of young people have called me in the past couple of years and, hey, I do want to become an iron worker, but what happens if I start a 4-year apprenticeship and I decide to move to Florida? Well, no big deal. We could transfer your apprenticeship to any other local training center throughout the country, which gives a lot of freedom. It's been said before, hey, a lot of younger people are looking at when we talk about, hey, I don't want a job, I want a career. Well, maybe that was my age of things. Now, hey, I don't want a career, I want something that supports my lifestyle. That was brought up a few times over the past year. Or I'm looking for a lifestyle and not so much a career. And the great thing about any of these trades is it gives you the ability as a journeyman. Hey, you could go anywhere in the United States. You could go ahead and work for a good negotiated wage package. Like Evan mentioned about the California wages, we get a lot of ironworkers saying, hey, New York City ironworkers make over $60 an hour in the base wage. But we always have to remind a lot of those just getting in, hey, you're also going to pay probably $2,500 for a studio apartment. So, you know, the cost of living always plays into things there too. But we are also privately funded. So we're privately funded by our membership. We don't take any kind of federal or state tax dollars. So that investment does give a lot of people that come from say they've done some community college or university and done other things, you know, hey, some of the guidelines we put forth in our apprenticeship, they do seem to be, you know, hey, this is pretty strict. Well, it is strict because what we're doing is investing in you to become an asset to the ironworkers. So with that investment, every member puts in money to push that ironworker through. Running a welding lab is what ups the cost of how much we put into every apprentice. The last time we divided it against our budget, we were about $67,000 a year because the price of steel keeps going up. Stainless steels, mild steels, consumables, you know, and just running a weld shop at the same time. Ventilation for 20 welding booths is around $200,000 investment. So there's a lot of investment when it goes into welding. And I think that's why a lot of our high schools across Michigan, when they gave up their welding labs, they slowed bringing them back because of the amount of money. But welding is a big part of ironwork. Touching on what Harvey opened up with Delta College, that's an awesome place. Hey, I'm interested. I'm a young person. I'm interested in welding. I don't know what building trade I want to go into. Harvey had an excellent point. Hey, maybe I'm going to take a welding course at the community college. I'm going to figure out what process I like to weld. You know, I have stick welding, SMAW, flux core welding, FCAW. I got TIG welding, GTAW, right? And MIG welding, GMAW. Every trade has some type of welding. I wouldn't say every, but most trades have some type of welding, soldering, brazing, right? And then you could find your interest in, hey, what am I interested in doing? Is it mainly stick welding and flux core welding? Well, if so, then you're a good fit for the ironworkers. Anything that uses a shielding gas, we're primarily outside about 80% of the time or more. So it really benefits us not to use a shielding gas. So moving on, starting wage for an apprentice. Brand new, first day on the job, they're making $18.86 an hour on the base wage. Their fringe package is $41.85. So every year in the month of June, when we turn another fiscal year, is when we'll increase wages. So we're never stagnant. Every contract gets negotiated every 3 years, and then wages will continue to rise. As a journeyman at the end of the 4 years, journeyman's pay currently right now is $32.49 an hour, with a fringe package is $69.01. So in between starting day and completing as a journeyman, every 6 months, as long as all requirements are met in the apprenticeship, there'll be a 5% pay raise increase. So every 6 months, as you learn a little more, you become more of an asset to the contractors. You're developing your skills. You're also earning more money. All right. So we take applications 48 weeks out of the year. Usually we can handle an application within 2 weeks, but I'll be honest, right now with the pandemic and we were shut down from March till June earlier this year, we have over 300 applicants waiting currently, and our application appointments right now are pushed out till the end of March. So we're currently working logistically wise on how we could catch that up, but that's a good problem to have. We have a lot of interest in those wanting to become iron workers. So other than that, touching a little bit on some of our highlighted projects, because everybody seems to know, hey, this is what a carpenter does, electrician, certain different trades, right? A lot of people think of the iconic picture, Lunch on the Skyscraper, Rockefeller Center back in the day. That's structural ironwork. Structural ironwork is about 75% of our work. All the other facets fall into a lot of our work, but it's not as common as structural. So structural ironwork is still our bread and butter. A common question I get is, if I'm afraid of heights, could I still be an iron worker? That question is absolutely you can, but what you do is you limit your marketability. A lot of our work is at heights, so certain jobs, that require heights, you would be limited to. Now, I will say this, it's common for everybody to have a fear of heights, right? It's not natural to go from walking on a sidewalk most of your life and now you're on a beam 10 stories up, right? So what I tell people is, hey, when you're up at heights, do you freeze up and you cannot move? Well, that's probably not a good idea to become an iron worker. But if you do have a fear of heights, but you could still function, hey, that's natural. And the more you do it, the more comfortable you'll get, and it'll become more easy over time. A lot of the big projects we have coming up and that we're currently working on is like the Gordie Howe Bridge, the new bridge to Canada. A lot of iron workers are going to be starting to head to that job in April of 21. The Michigan's tallest building at the Hudson site, downtown Detroit. That's going to be a really good project that currently is underway. And randomly all throughout Michigan, construction has been excellent. Hopefully with the way the politics have been going, hopefully we get a good infrastructure bill that comes out within the next year or two. And if that happens, all the trades will be looking really good, because our infrastructure and bridges all throughout the U.S. are in need of repair, and that will help all of us out, secure a lot more work for the future. But other than that, I'll just throw the website out there. All our applications start by visiting our website at ironworkers25.org. You'll click on the apprenticeship tab. The first tab on the drop down will say apprenticeship information. That's where you can find our application. The first 2 pages are instructions that'll walk you through the whole process of what I need to do, what documents to get together, what phone number to call to set my appointment, and list everything step by step. What work keys test do I go ahead and prepare for? So we do the testing right here at our facility. And when it comes to selection process, we're one of the few that does not do interviews. So we don't do interviews. We go strictly by the ACT Work Keys test scores. And those 3 scores will get averaged. Highest score will be the first one called for the first class. So the first 23, we put 23 into a class. The top 23 scores are in the first class going on. All right. If anybody is a veteran, we do helmets to hard hats. We've got a lot of different direct entry set up. So that is one of the common ones. Helmets to hard hats will find direct entry into the Ironworkers Apprenticeship Program. Other than that, maybe at the end, any questions, I'll be able to answer it. I'll throw the website on there and our contact information on the chat right now. Thank you, and that's it.
Thanks, Matt. Michelle, I see that you did have a question. I'll come back to that as soon as John gets finished with his presentation. If anybody does have questions throughout the whole time, just feel free to throw those in the chat and then we'll answer them at the end. All right, Mr. Hartwell, John Hartwell from Local 324 and the Operating Engineers, you're up next.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Thanks for hosting this piece today. I'm John Hartwell. I'm the Career and Outreach Coordinator with Operating Engineers. We are a statewide local, and I'll get into a piece here in a minute, but happy National Apprenticeship Week. Yesterday, the construction trades did a piece on our trades also, which will be, which was recorded. Each trade did a piece. I think we had 11 trades that participated yesterday, and that was recorded, and it will be available on Massey's website, Michigan Apprentice Steering Committee, Inc. So it's massey.org. It should be available later this week if you need more information about some trades. It's pretty good. We have some videos of live chats with apprentices on the job sites. So it's a good week for apprenticeship. What operating engineers do is we operate the heavy equipment that you see on the job sites around the state. So there's about 14,000 operating engineers in the state of Michigan. We have the highest number of apprentices that we've ever had coming through our program right now. We have facilities in Howell, Michigan, Detroit, and a facility up in the Upper Peninsula in Escanaba, or near Escanaba. It's in Gladstone. Most of the training takes place at our Howell facility. We have 555 acres in Howell with over 120 pieces of equipment down there. Most of our training is done in block weeks. So the apprentices come in for a week at a time, do 40 hours worth of training. Similar to Matt's program, we pay a per diem to the apprentices. If they're over a 100-mile radius, we put them up at a hotel for the week and pay for that, do those pieces. So if you come into the operating engineers, you're looking for an apprentice, apprenticeship, DOL registered apprenticeship, we have a couple different options for you. We have heavy equipment operation, which could be tower cranes on the new Hudson's building that Matt mentioned. It could be road building, doing anything with our civil equipment, all of our dirt equipment. I came through the apprenticeship almost 30 years ago, and I can't imagine doing it a different way with the earn to learn model that we're going to talk about. So If you come in, you're going to be an equipment operator, you might go to the hoisting side of things. A hoisting apprenticeship is a 3-year long commitment through apprenticeship, but as you're going through the apprenticeship, you're getting paid, like Matt said, like the other trades have mentioned. Operator apprentices start out at 70% of what a journey person makes, which comes in around $20 an hour. We have different contracts we work under. $20 an hour, every 1,000 hours that you're in the trade, you get a 5% increase in pay. To go on top of that $20 an hour, though, just like the rest of the trades, which I know students don't care about it a whole lot, but you will later on, you're getting health care, which in our case is Blue Cross Blue Shield, Delta Dental, some vacation pay. You're getting 2 pensions, an annuity. So you're getting $23 an hour in benefits. So a contractor to have a new apprentice on the job site is paying around $43 an hour to have an apprentice out there. And that'll come in important later on our talk here. So 3 years for hoisting, 200 hours per year at our training center, which equates to 5 weeks at one of our facilities. Most of our apprentices do more, so that's 600 training hours throughout your apprenticeship. But what we see apprentices do, we see them doing more like 800 to 1,000 hours, because there's a lot of skill, a lot of knowledge. The rest of the trades that you've heard from today, we work hand in hand with all of them on a job site. That's one of the best things to me about coming through an apprenticeship, working in the union, is the camaraderie on the job site and the other trades that we work with, getting to know our co-workers out there. The civil side, whether we're working pipeline, sewer jobs, road construction, footings on buildings, it's the same piece. 3-year apprenticeship starts out at 70%, same structure as the hoisting apprenticeship. We do have another apprenticeship though, and it's our technician, heavy equipment technician. So with all of this equipment out there, somebody has to keep the equipment running. So our mechanics, our heavy equipment technicians, is a 4-year program, 8,000 hours to complete the program. You'll do 800 hours of training at our facilities. And it's basically the same structure. Start out at 70%, get your pay raises as you go through. And it also starts out about $20 an hour for the apprentices. It's a great program. It's our newest program. And when I say newest, it's probably been around 10 years now. So good piece, good spot to go to. We do an application process also. We do ours once a year. Once a year, we try and catch the seniors coming out of high school. So we do it in June. And when we do it, it will not be June 8th this year. That was 2020's date. So for 2021, we'll get a date out there though. And it'll be published on our website, OE324.org. And all the information that I'm going through today is also on our website. So the applications will be available in June. What's required? You have to be 17 years of age to apply for the program. You have to have a high school diploma or a GED. You have to have work keys testing, which Matt mentioned. So that's on our website also. You have to have a valid Michigan driver's license. Travel is part of the package with our apprenticeship program, and a lot of the apprenticeship programs there. They don't always build highways or roads in your backyard, right? Or the wind turbines in your backyard. So sometimes it's a travel to go to work. Being a statewide local, you might travel anywhere in Michigan. We try and keep all apprentices close to home, but it's not always possible, right? So if I start with a contractor in the Saginaw area, and that contractor, their next job is then down towards Detroit, they're going to want me to go to Detroit with them, which is a good thing, which means the contractor likes you. So back to that $20 an hour, the benefits, what are we looking for in an apprentice? We know what our contractors are looking for in an apprentice because we've talked to them. So you do an application for apprenticeship, send in your work keys testing. Every apprentice or every person that turns in a completed application then will then go through an evaluation with us. And what are we looking for on an evaluation? We're looking for that work ethic. Do you show up every day on time? Are you enthusiastic? Do you want to be on the job? ready to work, right? We go through safety procedures. Everything in the construction industry is about safety, safety, safety. Can you follow the safety procedures? Are you trainable? And my best indicator on that is, can you retain what information you were given the day before? It's a 3-day evaluation with us, so we get a little bit of time with you. And do you have leadership skills? And why does an operator apprentice need leadership skills? An operator needs leadership skills. If I'm going to go out and I'm going to work with Matt Rajda's guys, I need to be able to convey to them why I'm setting the crane up, where I'm setting it up, what my ground conditions are, that whole piece, and be able to work with the other trades on that. Same thing with my electricians. If I was working with the electricians, we're doing some rigging work, you have to have those leadership skills too, right? So you notice I did not say that you had to have heavy equipment operation skills or mechanical skills to come into the program. That's not what we're evaluating on. Our contractors know that with the training we provide, plus the training you're going to get in the field, the OJL through the contractors, you'll be a great operator if you can pull all of those things together. A lot of it, I feel, is about the work ethic and wanting to be there. We have multiple entry routes into the program. The application process is one. The helmets to hard hats that Matt mentioned is another piece. So for high school seniors who are going to the military, to come into the trades and come back to Michigan, helmets to hard hats is a great option. On our end, we need somebody that's coming, let's say, out of the Seabees that had some kind of equipment experience in the military to come into our trade. But we know that there's 32,000 returning veterans coming back to Michigan in the next few years, and we want to provide them the opportunity. So if I was a senior going in the military, be cognizant, be vigilant of what you are going into the military for sure. Another thing that I have not mentioned yet is the opportunities that the trades, the registered apprenticeships and the trades provide. It's the equity. It's being equitable across all ranges for the pay. Everybody is going to earn the same amount, whether you're female, male, it doesn't matter, right? Our program's running about 15% female on the apprenticeship side right now, and it was probably less than 5% back when I was an apprentice. That number keeps growing, right? So there is a spot out there for everybody, and we know as the trades that if we're not actively recruiting and bringing the ladies into the trade, we're missing 50% of the workforce. And it is definitely, the trades are a doable piece for women out there. We do a lot of different career fairs, a lot of employer outreach to bring our apprentices in and make sure the industry keeps moving. But what I would like to do is show you a quick 30-minute or 30-second video, 30-minute freak Dan out, 30-second video of the trades. And if you look in here, I'm pretty sure you're going to see the other trades that talk to you today also. Been doing maybe around the Metro Detroit area lately.
We build roads, bridges, wind farms, and pipelines, schools to skyscrapers. Our members create monuments. We operate. We're the operators and mechanics behind the advanced heavy machines that move Michigan forward. We maintain boilers and HVAC. Our members run the complex heating and cooling systems that we all depend on. Our training is second to none, and safety is our priority. We are Operating Engineers 324, and we keep Michigan running.
I just like that video. That's why I show it all the time. But they mentioned another piece in there, which was our stationary operators. We do have apprenticeships in Detroit at our Detroit facility that are for building maintenance and boiler technician. That's also available on our website. Pretty exciting opportunities. Let's see if I can get where I want to be. I'm going to end the slideshow, and I think I've covered everything that I needed to. Thank you very much. Back to Anne Marie.
Thank you. All right, so that finishes our information session for today. If anyone has any questions, again, they can post them in the chat room. I think, Michelle, you might have gotten some of your questions answered through John's speech and through Matt's thing here. Ivan, do you guys have the same pre-qualifications as far as your prerequisites, right? As far as, like you said, strong skills in math, your work key skills?
Yeah, I mentioned that in order to meet the application requirements here, you need to bring us a copy of a birth certificate, driver's license, high school diploma, and then that transcript that shows those math skills. That aptitude test that I mentioned that you would take through us, it's very similar to a work keys test. So if you can get a score of a 4 on a work keys test, you should be able to get a score of 4 or higher on our aptitude test as well.
Perfect, thank you. Can you guys, we might have some juniors that are sitting in the Zoom meeting right now. What would you suggest the juniors do? I mean, I know seniors, you know, they're gonna be graduating in May, June, and they'll turn 18 and they can go right into your local halls and apply online. What about the juniors that are sitting here right now? What should they be focusing on?
I think that any of the trades programs that they can get into through a CTE program, they help. Whether it's a home building program, whether it's wherever they wind up at, what they can do, it helps them out to come into the trades. It works on that work ethic, and it gets them familiar with the environment that they're gonna work in. I think one of my biggest challenges as an apprentice was they sent me down to Zug Island, a steel mill, and I'd never seen anything like it, right? So job site intimidation was a factor, just trying to get my feet on the ground and figure out where we were in the trade.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would have to agree with John. Any kind of a class that you can take available through your high school, such as the Saginaw Career Complex, something like that, would be a great stepping stone. Get you familiar with tools, power tools, some safety. I'm pretty sure they teach OSHA 10 over there, which would be something that you would want day one on an apprenticeship program. And yeah, John, I know what Zug Island is, and that would be a very harsh way to start off an apprenticeship program.
What's like one most important takeaway that you'd want the students to hear from you today? Why don't each one of you say something? You too, Harvey. What's the one takeaway that you want each one of these students to hear?
Well, one of the things that was mentioned, but maybe not stressed enough, you have to be drug-free. Every employer is going to drug test you. And I can't stress that enough for the young students. It is absolutely paramount that you remain drug-free. The other kind of things that were touched on is your attitude. Be on time, show up, be ready to work. I mean, if your job requires you to start at 6 o'clock, don't show up at 5:59 carrying your work boots and say, oh, just a minute, boss, I got to sit down and put my boots on. No, if you start at 6 o'clock, you are ready to go to work at 6. Something I see in students that come to Delta. I've got one young man right now, I've been monitoring his attendance. He's been tardy half the time this semester. That's not going to fly with an employer when he gets out there. These jobs pay well and are all competitive, and somebody that can't show up on time every day is not long for a skilled trades job.
Thanks. Anybody else?
Yeah, I would just echo everything that Harvey just said. The soft skills thing is definitely a trying thing. We just had an apprenticeship meeting last night and deliberated over whether or not to dismiss a couple people from the program because they're not showing up for work and they're showing up late. So it's really, that's one of the number one things, you know. And the last comment that I made to John there, kind of jokingly, about starting your apprenticeship at Zug Island, we do work on things that are in dirty facilities, that are in heavy industrial facilities, things of that nature. So you need to be prepared for that as well. You know, I mean, the trades is a great career, But we are construction trades and we are working with our hands, and sometimes it's dirty or cold in the winter time. So this is Michigan. You got to be prepared for that. So just to kind of throw that out there, I guess.
What about you, Matt?
Yeah, those are all great points. And I mean, I'll do the same thing. I mean, that goes for the iron workers too, everything Harvey and Evan said. I mean, one thing that I think gets overlooked quite a bit within the past couple of years that I tell a lot of our apprentices that are starting out, you know, this is physical work. I mean, with the iron workers, I mean, it's changed a lot over the years. I mean, there's limits on how much we can carry, you know, and we do determine, you know, hey, this we're going to use a crane for, and this we could carry by hand because of how much it weighs. But it's physical work, and a lot of times like these, there's jobs that are going 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. And so we're finding some of those that come into our program, they haven't experienced the hard work that it can be like that. I mean, it probably would benefit you to, you know, take a look at your health. Hey, if you want to go ahead and you know, join a gym or get into shape, or you're already in shape, maintain it. I mean, it's only going to benefit you, you know, in the long run. And a lot of these trades, I mean, like John said, Zug Island, unfortunately, they shut it down. There's only a little bit going on, but I bounced in and out of the steel mills for over 20 years. I'd go in there and sometimes work a 20-hour shift or 7 days a week, 16 hours a day. So, I mean, we also need members, have good, you know, physical fitness. And on top of that, I mean, you're looking for the whole package, obviously, but, you know, one thing that gets downplayed quite a bit is, hey, I'm not that good at math. And maybe a high school counselor says, well, you know, maybe you're going to go into the trades, or we'll try and see what else is there for you. I mean, the reality is like with iron workers, hey, we teach trigonometry here at the school. We survey our own buildings. We're using total stations. I mean, in any of these trades, I can guarantee you there's a lot of math. So, I mean, that's a bummer for some that said, hey, I come here to just do hands-on work, and we're sitting them in a classroom for 50 hours a week and we're doing math. So, I mean, the big thing is, hey, you want a good career that could go many places, you got to put in the effort. What I loved about the iron workers when I was younger is hey, it wasn't somebody's been there 20 years, so that means they get the best job out there, or this or that, right? There is no seniority with iron workers. You know, we always say your last job you did is the resume for the next job you're going to get. And so some of our apprentices that, you know, put in the time and the effort, and they want to perform well every day. They're showing up, they're learning, they're getting the certifications, putting in the time. Hey, they're in spots now where, you know, hey, somebody might have took 15 or 20 years to get there. Or, you know, hey, me as a journeyman, I'm out in the field, I'm not showing up 1 day a week, that apprentice is going to stay. You know, so what you put into it is what you get out of it. I mean, that's true with the iron workers. I'm sure it's true with all the other trades. I've always loved that about our trade, that, you know, just because somebody's barely scraped by for 30 years or something doesn't mean, hey, they're still sitting on the top. So, you know, a lot of our younger apprentices that just recently graduated, it's awesome to see, hey, they're out there running work nowadays. They're the ones on the freeway. When I'm driving home, I see driving their company's gang trucks, and some of the future leaders out there. And as well as, I don't want to speak for everybody, but I will somewhat, a lot of us are all set up the same, you know, for a career opportunity, you know, apprentice to journeyman, it doesn't stop then. All of our local unions have in place, hey, you have a lot of different areas you could go to. You could go to our international unions. You could, we all have programs that will help you own your own companies. So, you know, somebody comes in and they say, hey, I've been a journeyman for 12 years thinking about starting my company. Hey, we have the ability to route them in the right direction. Hey, these are classes that are paid for, free for you because you're a member, and they're going to walk you through everything you need to know about starting your own companies, all the risks involved. And then, hey, you do want to start it? Well, hey, now we got classes for you for getting your company launched and up and running. So, I mean, the sky's the limit. We've had members that transferred over to MyOSHA. Now they're MyOSHA enforcement officers, so it just branches out so many different ways. I like to tell people, hey, it's not like maybe you went to work in a warehouse and you're saying, hey, I'm going to be working on this line the rest of my life, and this is my spot by this column line over here, and I'm putting this part in a box or something, right? If you don't like what you're doing today in the trades, hey, finish the day, you might be doing something different tomorrow. You don't like the job you're working on, that job's going to end. You're going to be on another job next week, next month, next year. So, I mean, the possibilities are endless and great. And I mean, that's why I'm still around, right? So.
Thank you. John, let's end on a positive note. Like, what's the best thing about what you've done in your career? What's the best thing about being in the skilled trades?
So the best thing about being in the skilled trades is the lifestyle, right? What do you want as a student? What do you want to accomplish? So things, when I got into the trade, were easy, right? I wanted enough money to go on a date. Then I had to have a decent vehicle. Then I had to have a house because I married that girl that I was dating. But do you like vacation? I love vacation. I want to go on vacation. Bought a couple motorcycles, toured the United States, right? I want to go up to Minnesota every so often, spend a week up there where nobody can find me fishing. We can afford to do that because we're in the trades, right? It's about that lifestyle. Do I want a four-wheeler to go deer hunting next week? I want some time to go do that, right? How do I afford it? I have to go to work every day and do that piece. I enjoy the camaraderie on the job sites also, but that lifestyle, being debt-free, I didn't have to pay for college, right? I didn't have to pay for college. And like Matt, I'm going to have $70,000, $80,000 wrapped up in each apprenticeship or each apprentice. And you know how much the apprentice owes? $0. We covered it all through collective bargaining, through negotiating and getting our members to do the payback and our contractors, right? So it's a win-win proposition. It is truly earn while you learn. And it is a great lifestyle. And like Matt said, there's always a different job out there. I had 13 W-2s in 1 year, just from contractor to contractor. It's not because I can't hold a job, Matt. It's because I wanted to go to different jobs, right? They keep inviting you. Go work for a weekend in Saginaw Steering Gear, which is not Steering Gear now. Anyways, I'm showing how old I am. So yes, I'll go do a weekend outage here and there, and I'll go back down to the steel mill. So I can't say enough good things about the trade. It's exciting. It really is. And there's always a new opportunity out there. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we're going to end on that. We're at 10 o'clock. So I appreciate all of your time. Again, if your students, to the counselors and teachers who might be online, if you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. You should all have my contact information. For any of the students, reach out to your counselors, and have a great week. All right. See you guys. Thank you.
Yep. Thanks, Anne Marie.
You're
Thanks for
welcome.
organizing, Ann. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank you.